You sell a business the same way you build a really good business. I can grow that business from that 5, 10 to $100 million in revenue. Either number one or number two largest independent companies in the country.
Oh wow. So what's the secrets they know?
Then there's the element of luck. Are you marrying the right person?
It's a secret of this business.
So those elements that makes a business that I wouldn't sell because it's continuously printing money.
Jay, and what the biggest fail in mining?
So that one was like $1 million loss.
$1 million. Oh wow.
Думать масштабно. Авторский подкаст Ильи Прусенко о бизнесе без границ.
It's my first podcast in English. I never did it.
That's good.
It's my first. And
You're challenging yourself.
This is how it's in English.
A tie?
Tie. This tie I get with Donald Trump dinner 2 days from now. I go to the.
Oh, I saw you posted about it. Yeah, 2 days ago. Nice.
And it's the same.
Nice.
It's the same tie.
How's the food?
Oh, food is very good, but it's like a place where main course it's Donald Trump.
Got it.
And that's why we waiting him 3 hours.
Wow.
And he comes to us and he talk 1 hour. We ask some questions to him, and he go out and.
No pictures?
Yeah, I make pictures.
You took a picture with him?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
But not very close.
Oh.
But this one.
Yeah.
Not so close, but it's.
Right there, in the room. I'm in the room.
Yeah, I'm in the room.
Nice.
But it's a very interesting experience for me. I never been in one room with any president. It's
Yeah.
my first president.
Nice.
Former president.
Nice.
What do you think? Who win the battle?
Oh, I think Trump's gonna win. Like
Trump will win?
Yeah, by
Oh, a lot
big,
of
by a
guys-
big margin.
Yeah,
By a big margin. Yeah.
big margin.
Yeah.
Because he's a former businessman, and that's why.
No, because the issues, the problems have turned his way. So everything that he spoke about in 16 all the way to 20 became true. And then all the issues that he fought, like before when he, in 2016, when he says build a wall, people thought it was crazy.
Yeah.
Why do you need to build a wall? But now they're like, oh shit,
Shit.
he's right.
He's right.
And,
it's need to
then,
do.
yeah, and then you talk about inflation, you talk about debt, you talk about all those things.
Okay.
He was ahead of time. He knew before it actually happened. So now people realize that, hey, the other guys are wrong.
Yeah.
He was, even though we thought it was crazy, he was right. And also the war, there were no wars during his time. It was peaceful. The world was peaceful. Now there are a lot of wars. So a lot of things that he said that people didn't understand very well have become reality.
Yeah.
And so now he's got those issues on his side. So people are like, yeah, I want a better economy. I want low inflation. I want peace. I don't want war. I want this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and and I don't want immigration. I don't want crime. I want someone strong on crime. I want strong on immigration.
All about he talked in previous years. It's a problem now.
Yeah,
And
correct.
And he ready to solve his problem.
Correct. He always been talking about it. So because he spoke about it and then it came true, now I'm like, oh shit, he was right. You know what I mean? He's not that crazy.
Yeah.
And then these guys are
He's not
dangerous.
crazy.
And the other guys are dangerous because they're
Other guys
ruining the
are
country.
dangerous.
Yeah. So I think that's where like a lot of people, like the whole thing is about the people in the middle, not right, not left. But a lot of the people in the middle became like, became aware because they're not attached to any side. So it became aware. So now they're on his side.
Yeah.
And then even some of the people that are on the left are like on the right of the left, like, they were Democrat, but they're like, Bill Clinton Democrats or
Obama
Kennedy
Democrat.
Democrats. Those people said, we don't like what's happening with free speech. We don't like what's happening with safety. We don't like what's happening with immigration. We don't like what's happening with the social stuff in schools and education. We don't like right now this whole thing about healthcare, like health and well-being, like the food is poison and all that stuff. So that's making people move toward the right. Or even though they were sometimes they're not even they're not even going right. They're staying in the same place, but everything moved so much left that now they're on the right side.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi all, my name is Ilya Prusenko. This is my first podcast in English, and our name of podcast is Leaders of Market. And today I speak with a huge entrepreneur who sold his business. And Jay, first of all, I ask ChatGPT, who is Jay? It's my feature.
All right.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah. And what ChatGPT tell us? Jay Bourgana is an entrepreneur and business strategist known for his work in the business acquisition and brokerage space. He has built a successful career in acquiring and scaling small to mid-sized businesses, particularly in the service sector. He is often referred to as a business flipper, similar to how people flip real estate, as he buys underperforming businesses, improves them, and sells them for a profit. His company has been involved in numerous transactions across various industries, including real estate, HVAC, and IT services. Is it correct information?
It is correct.
Yeah, wow.
Nice. I didn't know. I have to check that out next time.
Okay, and my first question is, it's amazing you sold business, and how to sold real estate business is it possible?
Yeah.
Maybe you tell some words about how to sell business.
Well, you sell a business the same way you build a really good business. So when you build a really good business, that business become attractive to other buyers and becomes sellable. What makes a business a really good business? What makes it sellable? A business that is sellable is a business that have taken a lot of risk out, because what does the buyer buy? They buy the earnings, the profits of that business.
Yeah.
So they pay you a certain number of multiple, and then they want to keep that business, and it's going to give them profit over a certain amount of years. So what keeps the profit sustainable? What takes the risk off, the risk of those earnings? Number one, you can think of like the sources of the business, the sources of the revenue. For example, do you have a sales system? Do you have a brand or a marketing system that provides diverse types of clientele? Because if your business relies on one customer, that's too much risk.
Yeah.
If 80% of your business comes from 3 customers, that's too much risk.
Yeah.
But if your biggest customer is 3% of your total revenue, that means there's low risk.
Yeah.
Then the risk in terms of the team and the employees. So do you have a management team in place? Do you have a really strong culture? Have you established your systems to attract high quality talent?
Yeah.
Are people, when they join your team, do they stay for a long time? Or do you have a high retention rate, or people are coming in and out?
Yeah.
So those are elements that keeps the retention of the team and makes the team stronger and growing.
Yeah.
So on one side, you have to have a really good system to acquire customers and to retain them for a long time. On one side, you have to have a strong system to acquire talented people and retain them for a long time. And then you have to have a system to acquire capital, meaning profits, and retain them for a long time.
Yeah.
So for example, if a business is a 2% margin, or 1% margin, or 1 year is doing 10%, the other year is doing 5%. That's not a very strong, healthy business. Not a very strong or healthy business. So the reason why it's making that low of a margin, there's a reason for that. Something is not working within the system. But if your business is doing 30% net margin, for the last 5 years, that's a healthy business. So there's a reason for that. They probably have really good sources of customers that pay in high margin, and they have really good talented people that run the operation very efficiently.
Okay.
And then they're taking the capital and then they're reinvesting it back in the business to grow that business over time. So those elements that makes a business really good business, a really healthy business, that makes a business retainable. Like, this is a business that I wouldn't sell because it's continuously printing money, printing profits.
Yeah.
That's what makes that business attractive. That's what makes it be attractive to other buyers, and that's how you make your business sellable. A business that doesn't rely on you, has a team that's built out, that has a brand that attracts high quality customers, has a good culture that attracts high quality talent, and it's profitable and efficient where it retains a lot of the profits.
Oh, thank you so much. And Jay, and do you have partners in this business, or you just 100% shareholder?
It depends. So sometimes there are businesses that I own 100%, and there are businesses where I partner with other operators.
Okay, and what's the key factors you think when you work with partners? Maybe you know some elements of success in this field.
Yes. So I like people that know their craft. So they're really like, they've been in the space for like 10, 15 years, whatever the space is. Let's say, automation, electrical businesses. So I want someone who's been in that space for like 14, 15 years. They have a really good reputation of serving clients at a high level, and they have a really good reputation with attracting really talented people and keeping them around. And then they always have an experience or have a history of delivering higher margin than average. So if I can find those people, those are the ones that I like to partner with.
Okay. Maybe you read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, a while back. Yes.
When he tell about if you find a guy who do good business in construction and have experience, you can give him money.
Exactly.
But if constructor guy start to sell something in maybe, for example, cars, selling, it's not good deal.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
I like technicians.
Okay, and I have a questions about what key steps did you take to prepare your real estate business for sale, and how did you identify the right buyer?
Yeah, so the big part of like getting ready for sale is number one, having a really good profit and loss statement, very clean balance sheet, having the brand that's not attached to myself, so it has a company name. I'm not part of it. Me not being involved in the sales or operation full time. So what I did, essentially, I recruited really talented people, and I developed them into talented leaders, and I positioned them in places where they have a revenue, they have a profit share, and they have the ability to lead the team on their own. So essentially, I took myself out of the business, and I made sure that we're profitable, and we had diverse sources of business, and then I just essentially made sure that we're clear in articulating our culture, because that's one of the things that a lot of people would ask me. Even some of the buyers would ask me, what would stop anyone from copying you? What makes you different than anybody else? And our culture was what made us different, because in our space, our goal is constantly recruiting and retaining talented people. And so our culture was the key. So I had to absolutely frame it. I have to make sure that our people know it. We had our own branding. We had videos, we had content around our people expressing what our culture was. And we were very clear on how we recruit people, that they have to fit the culture. If they're not, we don't keep them. And so those kind of like pieces, when they came together, it was very easy for us to be attractive in the marketplace. We actually never actually put ourselves on the market. We were getting inquiries from other companies or larger companies that wanted to acquire us.
Oh wow! For example, it's like Keller Williams. Who can buy? Who can pay 350 million?
Yeah. There are a lot of
there
are a lot of other companies that do $6-10 billion revenue companies that are.
For example, maybe you can.
Well, the company that acquired us was named First Team. First Team Real Estate is the either number one or number two largest independent companies in the country.
Oh wow!
And they were at the time, they were about $5-6 billion in revenue in sales. So essentially, there are companies that are out there that are looking to grow through acquisition. Timing is also a good thing. It's also a thing. There are periods where there are a lot of transactions happening, where people are acquisitive, and there are times like right now there are not that many transactions happening. So it's kind of like either you can say draw of the luck, or you can say preparation. So you have to constantly be prepared, constantly have a good, balance sheet P&L, very good, structure within your business that makes you attractive. But the minute you start having these conversations and you present who you are and what you're about, it's a no-brainer for these companies to want to acquire. A lot of times they just want to acquire the team because they can see the value of this team and how it can impact their business.
Okay. Jay, and maybe you can tell me a little more about the real estate huge companies. Who is the biggest company in this market? Maybe you know?
It's been a while. It's been a while since I've been in the space, but I believe it's between EXP, Compass, and Keller Williams.
Keller Williams.
Yeah, so those are the three largest.
And maybe you know the secret sauce of Keller Williams. It's I know it's not. They operate 25 years, I think, but they become number 2 in the market.
Yeah.
What the secret sauce? What's the secrets they know to become such a biggest?
Well, Keller Williams has a good culture, and then they have a strong system for acquiring strong agents. So they have these functions like a team leader and these regional operators that are focused 100% of their time on recruiting, and that's what their strength is in recruiting. So if they're attracting, so essentially the whole game is around
you.
Yeah,
also
the whole game
good in
is
HR,
about
yeah?
the whole game is about capturing, attracting, and retaining talent. So that's pretty much that's their claim of fame, if you will. And then they have good education, they have good training, they have a good culture, which retains a lot of people for a long time. And in this business, the longer you're in business, the longer you're in business.
How long have you been in business after you sell?
About 4.5 years.
4.5 years.
Yeah.
Wow. It's very amazing. It's too fast to grow and sell.
Yeah, well, it was a good timing. We were essentially growing during a time when the internet leads around real estate started coming up. So we took advantage of that ride at the time when we first started. Internet leads were cheaper, so we were able to acquire customers at a lower cost and be able to be profitable. But then over the years, that margins started shrinking with more competition and Google taking on more of that share. So it became less and less, profitable. But that was kind of like the rise when we started. We were focused on, conversion, branding, marketing, follow up, and all that stuff.
Okay. And what do you think key element? It's lucky or it's marketing and all these elements?
It's both.
Both?
It's both. Yes.
In
you
percentage.
have to be. Well, I think operationally you have to be strong.
Strong.
Yeah, you have to be strong from your processes and procedures, from your technology, from your talent acquisition, from the culture, from the branding. It has to flow throughout the whole company. And unless you're strong in these aspects, you're not going to be valuable to the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
So once you become valuable, then there's the element of luck.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If you're
Is it the right time?
Yeah, right time and little bit lucky.
Yes, correct.
50%.
Exactly.
Okay. And what were the biggest challenges you faced when selling your real estate business, and how did you overcome them?
There weren't so the biggest challenge is always who you're gonna partner with. So for me, when I sold, I didn't sell to completely exit. I sold in order to grow. So I essentially, joined a larger business to be able to take advantage of their resources and their scale, and to be able to grow at a higher scale. So for me, it's not necessarily like I'm going to sell you my business and I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
I was still involved. So essentially, we're building a relationship. We're getting married.
Yeah.
And so the biggest challenge is, are you marrying the right person?
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest challenge. So something that I, in the beginning when I first was approached, I was approached by a couple people that were working for the company. They were executives within the company, high executives within the company, the president and another VP, which I liked, and we were aligned in our goals and our values, and we had the same vision. But then a couple of years later, those two executives left to start their own operation, and then I was kind of like stuck there in a 45-year-old company with like an old management that didn't understand what was the original vision for me coming here. And so that became a problem, and so that's why I left like a year later. And I think that's the biggest challenge. So it depends on how what your vision and what your goal behind exiting. If your goal is to completely exit, sell, and leave, that's one thing. But if your goal is to stay on and grow the business even more and have, let's say, 2 bites out of the apple, where you can sell a portion now and then sell another portion later, then you need to know who you're partnering with. And then are these people going to be there for a long time or not? So that's the tricky part.
Okay, thank you so much. How do you evaluate the value of a real estate business, and what factors are most important for attracting high quality offers?
Yeah, I mean, most businesses are evaluated based on their profitability. And then, how profitable they are. And is that profit sustainable? Has it been consistent for the past 3 to 4 years, right? And then from there, you go into how sticky the team is, or does the company has high retention in terms of the team, or it's like people leaving all the time?
Yeah, because it's maybe very often in America, a family buy own house and that's it.
Yes.
And it's too hard to work.
Yes.
You need to find other clients.
Yes. And then, and same thing with the customer base, like you mentioned. So are you getting a lot of referrals? Let's say, for example, I like to see a business that has 30 to 40% referrals from other customers, because imagine if your business is growing by 30% every year, you're doubling the size of that business every 3 years. So I'd like to see 30% of the business coming from referrals, and I need to see the other 70% coming from diverse sources. Whether it is in person, internet, all these different sources.
From other customers. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a secret of this business.
Yeah.
I never know it.
Yeah. So we need to have retention, and then we have to have a good reputation in the marketplace. Do we have strong reviews? What do the other agents around the market say about us? Are we good people and people want to do business with us, or we're like awful and terrible and no one wants to do transactions with us? Because it's a small community. And people know each other. So if you have a good reputation in the marketplace, whether it is with the customer, with other agents, with other brokers, it facilitates the transactions, and it makes it a lot easier to do deals and a lot easier to close deals.
Yeah, thank you so much. What advice would you give to real estate entrepreneurs looking to exit their businesses successfully?
Yeah.
Maybe you have some advices.
Yeah.
Maybe someone want to sell right now.
Yeah, and it's not just for real estate, because I buy other businesses in a lot of different industries. So it's not just real estate. So I would say it's start with understanding your business processes, understand your operation, understand, and then have some layer of leadership, some layer of management that can handle the business if you're not there. So essentially, how would you design a business if you're not involved? If you can you go, to Hawaii for 6 months and the business will still grow without you?
Yeah.
So
it's a good business.
Yes, exactly. So that's what you want. You want to essentially redesign your business. Yeah, systemize your business, tweak your business in a way that can not only run without you, but grow without you. So you have to have the right people in the right places. That means you have to invest a little bit more in the people. You have to pay some of your management team a little bit more. That means your net margin is going to shrink a little bit, but it's going to make that business run based on the system, not based on you pushing it and try to grow. So that's what I see a lot. I see a lot of business that I buy right now are businesses that are owner dependent, businesses that may not have any technology. businesses that are very high margin, still growing, has high retention on the team. Team has been there for 8, 10, 12 years. But there's no sales. There are no sales teams. There's no marketing. There's no sales. And so if I can come into that business and I can establish, a little bit of a process, I can put in a layer of technology, I can add some sales and I add some marketing and some branding, that business is going to grow, 5, 6, 10 times. And those are the business that I look for. But if and once I establish that, that's when I have the ability to exit.
Okay, and you are looking right now at businesses, and you think win-win strategy. And when you come to this company, when you help with marketing, you help with systems, and strong entrepreneur who specialized in this business is connect with you, and it's you can do. Maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a
Absolutely,
year.
yeah. So our goal usually, if I can find a business that does, let's say, $3 million in revenue, or someone that does $5 million in revenue, and they're stuck in that number for maybe like 10 years.
Yeah.
And the entrepreneur is a strong operator, and the business is profitable. I can grow that business from that 5, 10 to $100 million in revenue. Just by putting the right systems, the right operation, the right marketing, the right sales, and so that's the goal. The goal is to give that entrepreneur the ability to exit $100 million business.
Thank you. And let's talk about business growth and strategy. Scaling businesses. What were the key strategy you used to grow your real estate business? What's the key strategies
in growth?
In growth, yeah.
Well, usually I start, if you think of a funnel, I usually start at the bottom of the funnel, and I want to make sure that our sales and conversion systems are strong. So we hire really good people, whether it is on the sales side with customers or on the recruiting side with talent. So we start at the bottom of the funnel. So we want to have really strong closers on the sales side. We want to have a really strong closing process, and then same thing on the recruiting as well. And then we go top middle of the funnel. So we figure out, okay, where's the high quality leads coming from? We invest until and then we refine our conversion. We refine our conversion until we get to a level, and then we get to the next source, and then the next source, and then then from there we're constantly asking our customers or our people for referrals. We got to get referrals, and we're doing a good job. We're delivering high value. We make sure that our brand is clean in the marketplace. We make sure that we have a lot of reviews. A lot of people know about it. We do a lot of PR. We do a lot of community events. We want to position ourselves as the good guys, and the guys that deliver high quality of service that are known. So anytime anybody gets in touch with our brand, they have a positive emotion around our brand, whether it is coming to work with us as clients or come to work for us as a talent. So that's where we create this flywheel where it's constantly running and never ending. But we definitely want to make sure that when someone comes to our world and they want to engage with us, we want to make sure that we close. So that's where we start bottom up. It's very important for us to convert and not lose a lot of opportunities.
What criteria do you use when selecting small to mid-sized businesses for acquisition? What criteria? I think it's very interesting for guys who maybe looking for.
So right now, the biggest opportunity is this generational transfer that's happening between baby boomers toward the Gen X and millennials. And there's a large group of baby boomers who own really high quality businesses that are now deciding to move on to retire for health reason or family reasons. So I think there's a great opportunity right now. What I usually tell all my, I get a lot of calls from entrepreneurs who ask me questions about this, and I tell them, listen, if you're gonna buy a business, buy a good quality business. And the easiest way for you to find out if it's a good quality business, just look at the margin. If a business is doing 5% margin, 2% margin, 10% margin. 10% margin is no margin. So you need to be at 20,
Some
25,
minus
30.
margin.
Yes, correct. Because anything can happen to that business and then you're losing money that year. So you don't want that. So you want a healthy margin that tells you it's a healthy business.
What's the
And
normal healthy margin?
anything above 25 is
25.
Yeah, 25% net margin is great. 20 is fine, depends on the size of the business, but yeah. And then you go from there. You start with the margin first, and then you look at if it's consistent over the last, if the business has been around for 20, 30 years, and you see that margin consistent over the last 5, 10 years, then that's great. That's a real margin, because sometimes people try to game the system right before they're deciding to sell. So they cut a lot of expenses, and then the margin looks like it's large, but it's really not real. So you got to make sure that margin is consistent over the past 3 to 5 years. And then you want to make sure that the business is growing. You don't want a business that's declining. If the business is declining, there's maybe a problem with the health of the business or the problem with the industry itself in that region. So if the business is still growing, that's a good business. And then a retention of the people. If the people have been there for a long time, or half the team just got hired this year. So that's another thing that I want to look at. And I like, if you want to get another level, I like businesses that have been around a long time, that don't have any technology, that don't have any marketing and any sales. Those are great, because majority of their business is coming from referrals. 100% of it is people calling them. It's all inbound. So there's no outbound outreach. Those are great, because I can add that outbound, and I can grow that business very quickly.
Thank you. Let's talk about personal insights and experiences. What was the most challenging business decision you have had to make, and what did you learn from it?
It's a good question. I've had a lot of this. If you're an entrepreneur, you make hard decisions all the time. It's usually around. A lot of it is around people. Like the hard decisions are always around, around hiring or letting go people, or doing a partnership with someone, or walking away from a partnership with someone. So usually those are the hardest, because you never know, so you go with your gut, you go with your experience, but you never know what the outcome is going to be. So every time I usually think of the recruiters or the scouts for the NFL, for example. So a lot of these guys spend 20, 30 years picking players. And then they spend hundreds of millions of dollars or building a team, and they pick a quarterback at the first round or the second round. And even in that stage, with people that know a lot of information about the player, have a lot of experience picking players, even those decisions are usually 50-50, or even less than 50-50. You know what I mean? There are always a lot of mistakes.
A lot of mistakes.
A lot of mistakes. So I'm always humble around my ability to pick, like to say, okay, this person is going to be super successful, or this person is not. So I'll make my best guess, but I'll still watch and be humble and observe. That's when a lot of entrepreneurs make a mistake sometimes, is that when they pick somebody and they think of that person is going to be successful, they almost like own that decision, and they don't want to let go. They almost like, no, I believe in this person's gonna be, and then they hold on for too long. And very quickly if someone is is a super talented person, someone is a star, right away.
Oh, thank you. And how do you apply skills from real estate sector to other industries like plumbing and IT services?
Real estate is a really great business in terms of sales and marketing. Because it's a hard business.
It's like red ocean. A lot of competition.
A lot of competition, and you eat what you kill. And so as far as so marketing, like the industry is very strong at marketing within the community. They use everything and anything. They test everything and anything. and they're very strong at developing strong salespeople, like really good, talented salespeople. So there's, training, coaching, accountability,
Yeah.
a consistency. It's every day.
Wow.
You're tracking the numbers. So a lot of industries don't have that.
Yeah.
And so because if you don't do that, if you don't hold people accountable and you don't train them constantly and don't coach them constantly and you don't push them and you don't give them the latest technology and all that, they're not going to be able to achieve their goals, and the company is not going to be able to achieve its goals. And we only get paid. There's no, there's all commission. There's no salary. There's no,
Wow.
there's no protection. So we only eat when we kill. So
it's like hunter.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it makes it where, it's very beneficial if you bring that that energy to a different industry. It makes it very strong, very from in terms of sales and marketing.
Yeah, if you find some sector where you don't have a lot of competitions and you implement the all best practice, it's become very exponential business.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I mean, if you think about, like, I was in Southern California, and there are 1.2 million real estate agents in the country, and in my market, which is 3 counties, LA County, Orange County, and San Bernardino County, or Riverside County, I had about 400,000 agents. So 30% of the population of real estate agents in the United States were in 3 counties in my market.
Oh, wow.
And so you're talking about like a hot red ocean.
Oh, ocean.
So it's super competitive, and that was just that was the biggest market in the United States. So you had to be creative, you had to be aggressive. And then also on the other side of it, you think about sales side, but also in terms of like the client experience, you had to make sure that the client experience from A to Z is amazing, because we want, at the end of that experience, we want a fan. We want a super fan that's going to send us a lot of referrals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're in the fan creation business, so we have to acquire people, and then we had to service them at a high level. So that means our communication is much stronger, our service level is much stronger, we have to match personalities. We have to put a person with the right person that match the personality. We have to execute, we have to go above and beyond for that client to feel strongly about us, to feel that we did the best job, to know that we're different than any other company, to a place where they're going to go out and tell their friends and share that information with other people. And therefore, we can earn that 30% referral that I was talking about.
Okay. Failure and recovery. Can you share a time when a business decision didn't go as planned and how you managed to recover?
Whoa. Again, there's a lot of them. You fail all the time.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, there are times where I've done some acquisitions that didn't work out. And, I've done acquisitions where it was the wrong culture. It was the
wrong culture.
Yeah, and I didn't investigate enough how much the owner was involved, and how much the management needs to be turned around. And then also, this acquisition was a little bit far from me, so I thought that I can rely on one of my people to be able to manage that transition. And that's a mistake that I've never done again, I only do acquisitions in places where I'm present, in places where I can be in there in the office or with people for at least 3 or 4 months, and I need to be hands-on on these transactions. So that's a mistake that I've done in the past. It was a little bit painful, and we had to shut down that office, but we live and learn. And so now, moving forward, we no longer do acquisitions too far from us, and we only do things that we can manage ourselves.
Jay, and what the biggest fail in money? For example, you buy a company which become bankruptcy, or maybe in money, how much money you lose. You do exit, it's good, but life, it's
Yeah, like that one was like $1 million.
Like summer and winter.
Yeah. So that one was like $1 million loss.
1 million.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is we don't have that many of those. You know, I mean, that's like a one time that happened.
Oh wow.
But that was, you know, that was a painful one.
1 million. Which, okay. Let's pick. Maybe you can give advice for entrepreneurs because you're such experienced guy. What advice would you give to someone looking to start business in today's market?
It depends. So if the person is not experienced and doesn't have any,
It's like a W2 guy who think, I want to become a businessman.
Yes.
What niche?
Yeah. So
what I did to do.
Yeah. So I would say first, make sure that know yourself.
Know yourself.
So what are you good at? Are you good at operations? Or are you good at sales or marketing, or are you good at marketing? So you need to know who you are, because you can't go out and start a business and say, okay, I love to do, I love to fix computers, and I'm gonna go start, an IT, management business. You need to be really good at sales. That business is all sales.
Yeah.
So I would rather you go learn how to be a salesperson, and do some coaching, do some training, become a very strong salesperson, then go out and start that business. And before you even quit your business, go and find a couple customers, go pitch some customers.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Do extra hours,
Yeah.
and then find some customers that will say, yes, I'll sign a contract with you, so you
Close,
can service.
Close.
Yes. So I would say that's the one thing that a lot of people fail to understand. That it's not just I'm gonna start an LLC or an S corp and I'm gonna build a website and they will come. That just doesn't never happens.
Okay. How do you create a strong company culture across different industries and teams?
Yeah. So strong. So every business has a culture. So I spent about 4 or 5 years being a consultant. And part of what I used to do, I used to go into a lot of different businesses, from manufacturing to distribution. And I will walk to different companies at different states and different industries. And so every company has a culture. So the key is just to understand kind of what that culture is. So you talk to a lot of people, you ask questions, you find out what is common among these people, like what keeps them together, what keeps them glued together. And then essentially you talk to the leader and you ask them questions of what they care about, what they don't care about, what's important, what they talk about, what they don't talk about. And then you can come up with a story of what culture is within that company, and you articulate it back to the people. And then they either accept it or they reject it. If they accept it, it's like, yeah, that's who we are. And you literally just tell them who they are. But if you're looking to build a strong culture, then you have to have strong values. So in my world, and when I build a company, my values are very simple. I need to have growth people, meaning people that are constantly learning and growing, and they want to do better for themselves and their families.
Yeah.
And I need people that are contributors, that want to contribute to themselves, their families, the people around them, their teammates, and the company. So people that are oriented around growth and around contribution, those are the people that I like within my company. So I don't like selfish people. I don't like short-term people. I don't like, so we either gonna correct that, or that person is not gonna be within the company. So over time, once you elevate those people, when you have your people, you build a team, and then you start elevating the people that manifest those growth and contribution traits, then the other people start seeing that, and then they see you talking about it, they see you communicating about it, then they know, and it becomes a very, everybody's reaching toward the same thing, and it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will. And then if we're celebrating people growing, we're celebrating people learning, we're celebrating people pushing the limit, we're celebrating people contributing, to the team and to everybody. And then we compensate that way as well. Even our comp plan is based on that growth and contribution elements. So if we make that essentially a part of our code of our culture, then it's just like everybody, as soon as someone comes in who doesn't fit that, the body, like the people, will reject that person very quickly. They'll come and tell me, oh, that person is not a fit, he needs to go. Okay. And so so that's when you have a strong culture, is when your culture rejects people that don't fit the culture.
Yeah, I know. You talk about my company. It's similar. When I start to find some guys with our culture, it's
Yeah.
not they can't connect it. It's big problem.
Yes.
And system tell let him go.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, that's what you want. That's when you
Yeah.
know that you have a strong culture, and people will defend it.
Yeah. How do you balance short-term gains with long-term business goals?
Yeah, I mean, I always think long term. I always
Long term.
think long term. Like, we don't do anything today that we're not gonna do for the next 10 years. And so I'm always, always thinking long term. But there are some times where you have to make some, short term decisions for a period. But the goal is to go back to that long term vision. And so, yeah, and I mean, if it's a tough market, it's a tough environment, the economy is not acting the way or industry is not behaving the way it behaves, then you have to make some short-term decisions to survive, to the next, season.
Yeah.
But, you're continuously looking forward toward the next 5-10 years. So if we hire someone, we think of that person as a 10-year hire. If we do a partnership, we think of that partnership as a 10-year partnership. If we do a marketing initiatives, it's a 10-year marketing initiative. So everything we do, it's like a long-term.
Long-term.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's speak about business communities. It's a very interesting part of our lives, you and me, because we're member of the same community. Maybe you can tell us some reasons why entrepreneurs need to join to different community.
Yeah, entrepreneurship is a lonely journey, and so if you're able to connect with people that are going on a similar journey or are in the same industry, you can learn a lot. I mean, it's part of that whole contribution element. If you come into a community, and that's what I tell people, when you join a community, any type of mastermind, any type of group, there are a lot of them out there. Come in with a mindset of contributing to the community. Come in with listening, helping people, answering questions, do some research, and come and add value. It's like you go into a potluck. You don't just go with a fork.
Yeah.
You go with a dish.
Yeah.
And better yet, you make that dish yourself. And better yet, you make your favorite dish that you're good at, and then you bring it to the potluck. So you bring a lot of value, and so the more value you bring to a community, the more value you get, because you earn trust, you earn a good reputation, and you help others. Eventually, people are going to come to you and they're going to say, "Hey, I have this opportunity. Hey, I've tried this marketing thing. Hey, I've tried this technology, this CRM, or I've hired this recruiting company that's doing a really good job. You should talk to them." And I cannot tell you how many times where I've heard one piece of information that sometimes at the end of an event, and that piece of information made me millions of dollars. And that's all you need, is just being around this ecosystem and be present and be attentive, and then be open to learning, and you can pick up ideas or insights or ahas that are going to change your business and change your life.
Oh, thank you. Maybe we need just drink ayahuasca and all insights come. or better way to join the community.
Yes. Yeah. I would say join the community.
Join the community is a better way.
There's actually, it's funny, ayahuasca is a big theme right now, because it's creating a lot of issues in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So, I guess in Silicon Valley, there are people that entrepreneurs that a lot of VCs have
Californian
invested.
way, Californian way. Burning May, ayahuasca, and what third? I forget.
So they or mushrooms.
No, not mushrooms. Vipassana, ayahuasca, Burning Man. It's a Californian way.
That's funny. So yeah, so actually it's interesting. What's his name? Mark Andreessen posted recently on X the fact that he's seen more and more tech entrepreneurs go on an ayahuasca journey and then come back and quit. and just don't want to run the company anymore.
Yeah.
And then this is a company where these VCs have invested hundreds of millions of
It's
dollars.
high risk.
Yes, it's a terrible. It's like it's terrible.
It's terrible.
So yeah. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It's an interesting trend happening. It's like it's growing trend, but it's
Yeah.
it's an interesting
I
trend.
saw Elon Musk interview to Lex Friedman, and
Yeah.
Lex Friedman comes to Peru and drinks 9 cups of ayahuasca and
Yes.
tell his experience.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how long have you been in communities different and
I've been
maybe-
in a lot of different
and
communities
a lot of
for a
different
long
spaces.
time. I would
Let's
say.
speak about your communities and your
Yeah.
experience.
So I like. Here's what I like to do. I like to. Whenever I'm in any industry, I like to be in the communities within that industry, and then ideally, let's say if I'm a business that does, if let's say I'm just starting out, and I'm in a business that does $1 million in revenue, I want to be in a community where there are people that are doing 10, 15, 20, $50 million revenue, or
Yeah.
even $100 million
Yeah.
revenue, and because that gives me access to a small group, and I'll pay a high ticket price
Yeah.
to be able to be in that room with those people and have access to them, because the conversation is different. It's a high level conversation, it's long-term vision conversation, and you can learn a lot. So that's from like a industry specific thing. If I want to be a better investor or a better all around person, there are communities where that can join, where people share information around and allocating to real estate or allocating to stocks or allocating to very diverse types of assets. So I want to be around those people that are allocating a lot of capital, so be able to access the information around high return, low risk opportunities. I want to be a good father, so I want to be around other fathers that care about their kids, and they care about they want to raise exceptional kids. They don't want to raise average kids. You know what I mean? So I want to be around those people because the conversation is different. They're constantly thinking about ways to improve their connection to their kids, the potential for the growth potential for their kids. And this is a world that is changing constantly, and we're bombarded with a lot of things. So you want to be surrounded with people that are also growth oriented and contribution oriented. So you can go at it from a lot of different, even you want to be fit and you want to be healthy. You want to be around the community that are people that are super fit and talking about health stuff all the time. Eventually they're going to break you and they're going to make you want to get healthy and fit and all that stuff. So you want to be, whatever it is that you want to change in your life, you want to surround people that are better than, they've achieved it or better than you, or they're also in that journey to grow in that thing. And they're constantly contributing to the group and sharing information and knowledge and insights.
Yeah, we have some Russian funny story about that. All salty cucumbers in the bottle, all cucumbers in salty water in the bottle are salty cucumbers. It's the same that you say about if we join to the right room, we can make right decisions. And it's help us to grow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's this connection where when people in the room at the same time with each other, where there's a transfer of wisdom, there's a transfer, and it's just like it's sometimes without even saying anything that these things happen. So and I mean, if you want to improve at anything, if you're intentional about improving at anything, you got to be around people that are doing it at a high level and they also want to improve at that thing.
Okay, and what the highest check that you pay for joining to the room? Maybe it's a room of super businessmen.
So different. So I had there was a group where I was paying around $100,000. That was probably the highest group that I paid for.
It's like mastermind.
Like a mastermind.
And it's not one meeting. It's a long journey, yeah.
Yeah. It's a collaboration. It's they do like a couple events a year, but you have access to and there were probably a couple hundred people in that group, but they're like the best at what they do.
Okay. Thank you, Jay, for your time. And my next question, could you please give the advice for the young entrepreneurs or guys who want to start run business
Yeah.
right now? Maybe one advice.
I think the best advice right now is, instead of starting a business, go buy a business.
Go buy.
Go buy a business. It's a lot easier. The United States, here in the United States, we have this SBA program, 7A program, that allows you to buy a business with as low as 10% down, sometimes even less, sometimes 5% down.
Yeah.
So there's nothing like it anywhere else in the world, where you can buy a profitable business, that's doing, you can borrow as much as $5 million from, that's guaranteed by the government, and then you can start with a profitable business, and then you can grow it, and you can, as opposed to start from zero and then have to get momentum. You can buy a business that has 30-year experience, reputation, and you're starting out with that. Now you buy that 30-year reputation, that 30-year experience, the team that's been there for a long time, the customers that have been there for a long time, the profitability has been there for a long time. So I would say, if I was starting over and I was young, I would not have started a business from scratch. I would have bought a business. And I'll find there are a lot of people that will lend you the money if you don't have the 10%.
But they tell me, I haven't got enough money to buy.
Yeah.
Well,
listen,
money?
think about it. There are businesses you can buy for, let's say there's a business that you can buy for $1 million, $1.2 million. So 10% down, that means $100,000. So with $100,000, you can buy a business that does $450,000 in profit. So that means you can get paid back in a year.
Oh, wow.
So would you find a way to get $100,000? You will. You could borrow it from people. You can go and give them 10% interest, and they'll lend you, or even 15% interest. They'll lend you that $100,000 to buy that business.
Okay.
And then you could pay it back in a year. So if you want do something today, I think the best opportunity as an entrepreneur is to buy a business.
Okay, and what kind of business the best?
Yeah, so
right now?
So I like home services. I like anything that has to do with anything from electrical, IT, plumbing, HVAC, irrigation, landscaping, anything like, especially here in South Florida. South Florida is growing. There are there's a lot of migration coming into South Florida. There's a lot of high net worth people that are coming in that have high standards in terms of like the quality of service they want. And the older generation has gotten used to the old ways, so they need new people that are going to be technology oriented. They're going to be service oriented. They're going to be quality oriented. So this is a great opportunity for anybody that's and it's not something that the AI is going to take over.
Okay.
And there are a lot of services. There are B2B services where you can service government, you can service other companies. There are a lot of services where as long as you can sell, that's where I go back, and you got to understand that no matter what business you're in, you're going to be in the sales business. Even if you're a doctor, you have to be a salesperson, to get patients.
Yeah.
You have to be a marketer to get patients. So no matter what industry you're in, you have to be able to convince customers and clients to come to you, and you have to convince talented people to come work for you. So that's kind of my thing. I would say buy a business. Don't buy anything that's shrinking. Don't buy anything that's not profitable. Buy something with high margin. Buy something that's growing.
Jay, and is it possible our subscribers can ask you to maybe consultancy or
absolutely
maybe
happy
your
to
service?
Absolutely. You can find me.
You can help to maybe give strategy to these guys, or help how to buy business.
Absolutely happy to help.
It's crazy. It's all guys, a lot of guys think only on the box, but it's like out of the box. It's too hard to make decision to go out.
This is the best opportunity for the next 15 years. So I would absolutely recommend anybody to pursue that path. And if they need help, please give me a call.
Okay. Thank you, Jay, for your time. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, nice to meet you.
It's my first. It's too hard.
Too hard?
Yeah, but it's step by step, I think.
That's good. No, you're good.